Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, it is good evening. It is good evening. Wow. Thank you very much. It's so good to see all of you out tonight, and thank you for helping me win a bet. I had a bet with Miss Hall that we wouldn't have many people here this evening. So Miss Hall will be buying me breakfast. So, no, they count. So welcome to the Wednesday, March 11, 2026 regular board meeting of the Savannah-Chatham County Board of Education. I will first confirm that we did issue a notice of this meeting, and it has been confirmed. If you would all please stand for our national anthem and pledge.
Just one.
No, she's going to announce it.
I'm saying it's me. Miss Hall was getting worried there for a minute. Again, good evening. Tonight we have the pleasure of hearing the Savannah Arts Academy Skylarks performing the national anthem for us. The Skylarks are an audition-only group from Savannah Arts, and they're very accomplished under the direction of Mary Woodard Thompson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's hear it again for the Skylarks. Amazing. Okay, I'll now accept a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you. Announcements. I'm sorry. Anyone second? Second. All in favor? Stephanie, are you voting yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, announcements. First of all, listen very carefully. This is very important. We would like to announce that pursuant to applicable law, Dr. Hoskins Brown has stepped down from her role as a board member by qualifying for election to another position. This creates a vacancy for our District 2 school board seat. As allowable by law and stipulated in board policy, the board seeks to select a qualified person to serve as the District 2 representative until the next available election for the seat. Starting Monday, March 16th, interested individuals may visit the district's website, sccpss.com, to complete a form for consideration. The deadline to submit a request for consideration is March 25th at noon. The board also announces a special call meeting will be April 7th at 11:30 a.m. To interview candidates and vote to appoint a District 2 representative. Again, you can go to the website if you're interested in applying. Thank you. Other announcements. Monday, students, this is a remote learning day. Tuesday, we'll let everyone guess what Tuesday is. Tuesday, March 17, all school staff and students are out for St. Patrick's Day Parade. National Reading Month at Oatland Island, Saturday, March 21st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Audit Committee meeting Thursday, March 26th at 8 a.m. at Whitney. Our spring board retreat, day 1, is Thursday, March 26th, starting from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is at 210 Technology Circle. Our spring board retreat, day 2, is Thursday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, I'm sorry. Friday, March 27th. No, yes, March 27, 2026, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., 210 Technology Circle, sorry. Spring break begins March 30th through April 2nd. That is for everyone, for all school staff and students. Good Friday, April 3rd. All district school staff and students are out that day. April 8th at 8:30 a.m. is our Finance Committee meeting here in Whitney at 8:30 a.m. Our April board meeting is also April 8th. Informal starts at 10:30, executive 12:30, and regular meeting at 2. In memoriam, Sharon Branch, a paraprofessional, date of passing February 9th, 2026, from Hodge Elementary School. Yeah. Otis Brock, Executive Director, Secondary Schools, date of passing January 28th, from Academic Affairs. Jimmy Lehani, second grade student, date of passing January 9th, 2026, from May Howard Elementary School. If we could please stand for a moment of silence. Dr. Watts?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to introduce our February Student of the Month. The Superintendent Student of the Month for the month of February is a senior at Savannah Arts Academy who takes school very seriously. She attends and gives tutorials and is an active student both in and out of school. She strives to put forth her best effort in both school and extracurricular activities. She will have completed 10 AP classes by graduation and 5 dual enrollment credits. Her nominator, Melissa Relihan, said, "I worked with her last year during her GHP mock interview, and she blew me away. She was so poised, mature, and embodied everything we were looking for in a GHP student. From then on, I have called on her many times to assist with numerous projects at Savannah Arts Academy. I witnessed her in action at the Superintendent's Senate, leading a charrette, speaking confidently to not only her peers, but to the leaders of our school system. She is an outstanding student and deserving of this honor." Our scholar serves as the Science National Honor Society President, Spanish Honor Society President, Pre-Med Club President, and spreads science interests doing booths at SCCPSS Elementary School STEAM Nights. Beyond the classroom, she provides translating services through Migrant Equity Southeast and serves on the Superintendent's Student Senate. This year, she organized a clothing drive that collected over 700 clothing donations, tutored elementary school students, and served as a junior camp counselor at Oatland Island. And she also co-founded a nonprofit, Kindness Kitchen. This amazing young woman wants to become a pediatrician. She hopes to open her own clinic that provides accessible health care to people from all backgrounds in the community. When asked about her academic success, our student said, "Knowing that I can help others with my passion for community and learning makes the hours of effort totally worth it." Please help me congratulate Valerie Flores, the Superintendent's Student of the Month for February.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Valerie will be taking home several gifts from our sponsors, including Members First Credit Union, Advertising Specialties, Savannah Technical College, Georgia Southern University, Gulfstream, and Savannah Schools Federal Credit Union. In addition, Valerie and her English Language Arts class will receive copies of her favorite book, The Giving Tree, donated by our sponsor, E. Shaver Bookseller. Again, congratulations to Valerie, and I'll now ask that her family please stand. Also, her extended family and support, the Savannah Arts family, and her nominator, Miss Melissa Relihan, and the school principal, Dr. Anna Ballou. Thank you. Congratulations. We're very excited. And yes. I'll now move on to the superintendent's good news calls for even more applause. Congratulations to our newly named District Teacher of the Year, Sam Sachs. Also, our Instructional Support Person of the Year, Lauren Evans, and Principal of the Year, Alana McMullen. These exceptional educators were honored at the Excellence in Education Gala last month. Many thanks to the sponsors who made the Excellence in Education Gala possible. This event is funded by donations, and we could not do it without the support of all of our benevolent community partners. Thank you. Congratulations to Dr. Anna Zarita from the Savannah Arts Academy, who has been named the 2026 Georgia AATSP High School Teacher of the Year by the Georgia chapter of the American Association of Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese. This recognition honors her outstanding dedication, professionalism, and lasting impact on Georgia language learners. Also, congratulations to first grader Raylyn Royal of the Early Learning Center and fifth grader Roman Kyle Rax of White Bluff Elementary School. Their posters were selected by our school bus drivers and monitors to represent at the state level for School Bus Safety Week. Each year, student artwork that depicts school safety-related themes and promotes bus safety is used to promote safer school transportation for everyone during the National School Bus Safety Week. Winning state posters will be selected later this spring and sent to the national contest by mid-May. Good luck, Raylyn and Roman. We wish you well. I'm incredibly proud of the class of 2025 for continuing to raise the bar in advanced placement performance. Advanced placement is one of several advanced learning options available to students in our schools. In the 2025 school year, 1,252 students completed over 2,000 AP exams. And of those exams, 70% yielded an AP score of 3 or higher. This represents a gain of 5.4% over last year's performance. Hats off to the students and their teachers for continuing to strive for excellence and improved outcomes. I am also very proud to announce that the school counseling program at Charles Ellis Montessori has been recognized by the American School Counselor Association as a model program. This national recognition indicates that the school counselors at Charles Ellis are consistently implementing the ASCA National Model Framework, providing direct and indirect services to students, program planning, and improved student outcomes because of their school counseling program. The counseling team from Charles Ellis, which includes Rebecca Burkhart and Ava Woody, as well as Principal Prince, will be recognized at the ASCA National Conference this July in New Orleans. We would like to take a moment also to recognize the work of our procurement staff who keep the business of our school district moving and process millions of dollars of contracts each year. Procurement is a critical function of our district, and staff work daily to strengthen relationships with suppliers and district departments to ensure the goal of our school system are met. We recognize March as the annual procurement month and urge all district staff to join us in recognizing the role of the purchasing management profession within business, industry, and government. I'd also just like to join the governor of the state of Georgia, as this week is School Board Appreciation Week, and he has recently highlighted it as such. So I ask that you please join me in officially recognizing each of our school board members and thanking them for their dedicated service to our school district. And there is an official proclamation, and each of them have been awarded a certificate acknowledging their dedication. Thank you. And with that said, I'll turn it over for our professional senate report.
Good evening. The Superintendent's Professional Senate met on February 19th. A session on grading practices was facilitated by Mr. Butler, where we reviewed educator feedback on the district's current grading policy. Senate members compared our grading policies with several Georgia districts to identify potential improvements. These comparisons highlighted opportunities to clarify expectations and to strengthen communication. Key takeaways include a need for clarity on grading floors, especially with regards to specific student populations, managing teacher workload to allow for meaningful feedback to be given to students and families, and ensuring strong communication between schools and families regarding student progress. Several issues were elevated during this meeting from our committee chairs, including the need to create a sustainable feedback channel. This would serve as a repository for different needs across the district, as well as a task management system, and would lend consistency as Senate members change from year to year and provide actionable operational data to the district's leadership team. Our next meeting will be held on March 19th at Windsor Forest High School. Thank you.
Continuing on your agenda this evening, we have a number of items in your Board of Education matters rundown, starting out with some policy reviews. Item 6.01 is a board policy review. This is Board Policy EG, Insurance Management, and this is in alignment with the board's standard 4-year policy review. You'll note there are no recommended changes on this policy, and we bring it to the board now for the board's review.
Any questions or comments? Thank you. Continue.
Hearing no changes or modifications to that policy, we'll consider that one complete under the board's 4-year policy review process. Same with item 6.02, Board Policy EGD, Liability Insurance. There are no material changes to the language, just one modification for grammatical correction in here, but no substantive changes for the board to consider. So again, we're bringing this to the board under the board's 4-year policy review process with no recommended changes, subject to any feedback by the board. We will consider this one complete as well.
Questions? Thank you.
Moving along, item 6.03 on your agenda this evening, Board Policy KMB, Possession of weapons by visitors. This particular policy section did have one minor change, but it's a change that we think is for the good of the district. And you'll hear that the nuance here is really stipulating and memorializing through policy the ability for us to make clear and designate any area owned or leased by the board. This means buildings outside of schools, where then we could then post appropriate signage to clearly state and designate a weapon-free and violence-free school safety zone. This has been added to your policy. This comes to you as a first reader. Subject to your feedback, we'll bring it back for a second read adoption in April.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Thank you. Looking at this policy, it does not contain or give provisions for chemical weapons. I don't know if that's ever been considered as far as pepper spray, mace, or also explosive devices such as firecrackers or, TNTs, cherry bombs, homemade explosives. I'm just wondering about weapons, in this day and time.
Yeah, we'll go back. The law does stipulate definition of weapons. I will state, though, that to your point on explosive compound, that is mentioned in there under OCGA 1611-127.1. But we will look a little closer at that to see if there's any expansion under the law to talk about any chemical-based components. I think really what you're looking at is something that could create damage or cause some sort of bodily harm. But we are going by the current statute, which does provide definitions for weapons, and that is listed in here. But we'll certainly look at that as from that view and cross-reference it against the legal basis.
Anyone else? Ms. Grabowski.
So I had two things. Under the section of authorization and restrictions, parents, legal guardians, and visitors, I know the first paragraph is mandated by state law. In the second paragraph, the second sentence says there is a general prohibition against carrying weapons in a school safety zone, and goes on. Actually, that whole paragraph, because the first sentence reads, are encouraged not to bring weapons onto school district property, and there's a general prohibition. Can we strengthen that language? Because the state law, my understanding is it's more specific to a firearm in a motor vehicle. So can I get some clarification? Is it possible to strengthen the paragraph, that second paragraph?
You are correct in terms of, I think that language is there to just discourage people from, we're discouraging it because that would discourage them from bringing it in their vehicles. But the law does allow for it to be brought in the vehicle. So I think that was why that was stated that way, of generally discouraging it. Of course, when we have people brandish weapons and it crosses the line for just having it in your vehicle, there's certain places you can keep it. So we could designate it and go right down the line with what you're allowed to do in a vehicle. But I think that our approach was to take the approach of saying we're just discouraging them.
Well, I guess I would suggest that we put the discouraging language in the same paragraph where we're talking about what's allowed under state law. And in the second paragraph, clearly stipulate weapons are not allowed inside the school building, because right now it sounds kind of wishy-washy, like we really hope you don't bring something to the school for visitors. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity to strengthen that language, and I'm getting a positive head nod from Chief back there as well. So that's my first comment. And then the second one is under board offices. Again, this one seems really not nearly as strong as I think it could be, that visitors to board offices shall be restricted and screened by security personnel. Possessions of weapons subject to such screening shall be prohibited. Why can't we just say weapons are not allowed in board offices?
Well, that's what the change we're making is to designate it as a weapon-free, violence-free safety zone. So if we make that designation for any board property, that allows us to designate it that way. But we could make that change too. But that's what the language in red there. It allows us to make a stronger prohibition outside of schools. So that's why we added it.
I guess I just, can we not be squishy and just be clear? Would be my request.
Yeah, we'll clean that language up. It's a little awkward.
It's very awkward.
Even in the way it's currently written.
Yes.
But again, this was kind of, this was the benefit of doing policy reviews, because this stands back a number of years. And part of this was when we stood up having a screening procedure for the ingress and egress into board offices, which you all will recall prior to us moving out of 208 Bull Street. The board offices are right there. Of course, that building going under a renovation right now, we don't have that. But I remember when we stood up the screening process for coming in and out of that building, there were some other areas that we had to modify in policy language. So some of that goes back historically to that. But with this new language in the red, that's really the clear overarching piece, and we will clean that awkward piece up as well for your second reader.
I do want to also add that the law has changed quite a bit over the years due to school safety and security. So we do want to be aligned with the law and be very clear of what the public can and cannot do and who can bring weapons into those areas. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, feedback noted. We'll come back on the April 8th board meeting with a second read for your final review and adoption. In the spirit of time, item 6.04 MCA, 6.05 MDA, 6.06 MGB, and 6.07 Board Policy MK are all in the 4-year process, and there are no changes recommended for any of these policies. So if any board members have any feedback on any one of these policies, we'd like to hear that so we can capture that and then come back for a second reader. Otherwise, we'll consider all of these policies complete per the board's requirement of your 4-year review process.
Any comments, questions? Thank you.
Very good. Moving on in your agenda, item 7.01. This is an action item for the Board of Public Education. We do have a facility naming request. The first read for this particular facility naming request was done during the February 18th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Education. And of course, in accordance with board policy, clearly states that before adopting a name for a facility or a portion of a facility, That name shall be presented to the board at one meeting and voted on by the board at the next. We also held two committee meetings with community members, school members, and others in accordance with board policy for the review of this naming. Those committee meetings were held and are complete, and the committee unanimously agreed that the naming recommendation should be applied. So we do now have a recommendation for the board's action that the Board of Public Education Police Department Annex be now named the Larry Lauer Board of Education Police Department Annex. Thus be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board does now approve the naming recommendation for the Board of Education Police Department Annex.
Have a motion? It's been moved by Ms. Hall, seconded by Dr. Howard Hall. Any comments? Ms. Hall.
I'm so pleased and so proud that we can honor our former board member. His family is delighted and wishes to express their thanks to everyone on the board for making this happen. And we will have a ceremony once Ms. Davidson lets us know, and Chief Enoch, an appropriate time, and the family will attend for that. And I just want to say thank you so much to my colleagues for this.
Anyone else? Okay. There being no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right. Thank you.
Continuing on your agenda, this evening we have the item 7.02, your board norms and protocols. This is an annual document that the board goes through a process of reviewing and updating its board norms and protocols for operational effectiveness throughout the school year and throughout the fiscal year. This is an example of Board of Public Educations that are using good governance standards for the effective operation and operational conditions of the school district. This is also something that is an effective document to allow the board to publicly memorialize the work that it does under good governance, and that is in alignment with the Georgia School Boards Association, and something that we will later on be able to provide as a matter of evidence should the board click submit for a designation to be recognized as an exemplary board through the Georgia School Boards Association. So this evening, we have this provided for the board, has been provided in advance and has been posted to board docs publicly for everyone's review. And we ask now that the Board of Public Education does hereby approve the board norms and protocols, and that each board member commits to the norms and protocols enumerated within the document, as well as related policies and performance standards as may be adopted by the board, and does now take formal action to adopt these board norms and protocols.
Accept a motion? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Campbell?
Nope.
We're good? Okay. All right. There being no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful.
Continuing on your agenda, we have item 7.03. This is your GSBA legislative positions. The board will remember that last year the board as a whole voted on some modifications to the Georgia School Board Association legislative positions. Well, it's that time of year again for the 2026 positions of GSBA. They are asking boards of education across the state of Georgia, should they have any revisions to the draft that they have presented, that the board vote on that as a whole for submission to the state. We will remind the board that April 10th is the deadline for that submission. So the board will take an opportunity this evening, should you have any discussion points that we can capture, and we can bring a finalized recommendation back to your official adoption during the April 8th Board of Education meeting for subsequent submission to the state. Of course, if you don't have any recommendations for change, that's fine as well, and that would be noted as much for any actions that the state would be looking for as far as their work. Your legislative delegate for the board, of course, is Ms. Grabowski, and she will, of course, take the microphone now and discuss with any potential feedback that the board may have on this item. It's been posted to board docs publicly for review, and the board has this document as well. You'll note that there are a number of things in there that have aligned with your legislative priorities and positions in the past as well, and there may be some components that you seek to tweak.
Thank you, Mr. Hediger. I think you pretty much said it all, but just a reminder that if there's something that we do want to add, that does have to come as a vote of the full board and not just an individual. Last year, when we took those recommendations to GSBA, they're then voted on by those delegates, and they were all accepted and moved forward into the legislative priorities for GSBA. So.
Dr. Brinkman?
Yeah, was it GSBA that changed it from priorities to positions? It's more fitting because it's 10 pages. And I would just ask you to take that back to them like we do every year. If I handed this to anybody in the state legislation, they're not reading it.
Yes.
It's 10 pages.
Yes.
So like have positions on things, but then elevate a few to the front page so that somebody can read it and you can have some talking points, because right now, every school board member that's part of the GSBA could have a different talking point about a different position, and they'd all be talking about our positions, and that just is ludicrous. Like, you can't make change if not everybody is behind one thing, and every legislator hears the same thing, and we just water down our ability to move any needle, and legislation that we don't want to pass passes every year. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew you would echo that, but I just had to get it off my chest.
No, I'm glland that you did bring that up, and I actually brought that up last year when we were discussing the positions, priorities, whatever they called them then.
There were priorities then, but they figured out that word doesn't fit.
And I did suggest to them that they look exactly to that point, as we have done over the past several years, to really focus. I will say this year, GSBA held 2 days at the Capitol, legislative days at the Capitol. One of them happened to coincide with Savannah-Chatham Day, which was super convenient. So that we had a session at GSBA's office and then walked over to the Capitol. And at that session, they did kind of highlight a couple to, really bring to the foreground. But that was only to the people in that room. So if we're going to work collectively across the state as school board members, I agree with you, Dr. Brinkman, that being able to tailor that a bit more would be helpful. So, but I would invite everyone to please, take a look at this, and if there's anything that we think we want to modify, that we bring that forward for formal adoption in April, either way.
Thank you.
Next item, 7.04, is a proclamation for National School Nutrition Month and National School Breakfast Week.
Yes, Ms.
Me again.
Grabowski.
A proclamation is now presented for National School Board Breakfast Week to celebrate the importance of a nutritious school breakfast in fueling students for success. This special observance during the first week of March celebrates the National School Breakfast Program and the many ways it gives kids a great start every day. Whereas the school breakfast program has served our nation admirably since it was permanently established in 1975, and whereas the school breakfast program is dedicated to the health and well-being of our nation's children, and whereas the school breakfast program joins and has been joined through the years by many other excellent child nutrition programs, and whereas there is evidence of continued need for nutrition education and awareness of the value of school nutrition programs. Be it resolved by this Board of Public Education that the week of March 2nd through 6th, 2026 be recognized as National School Nutrition and School Breakfast Week in the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System, and that every citizen join us throughout the entire month of March to recognize the lasting contributions of our fantastic school nutrition staff.
I'll accept a motion. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And we have some from we have the band. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you very much. There's actually 2 copies, so you get a bonus. Thank you.
And next item on your agenda, item 7.05, a proclamation for National School Social Workers Week.
National School Social Work Week proclamation. This year, the theme for National School Social Work Week is Social Work, Uplift, Defend, Transform. To recognize the valuable contributions of our school social workers, the Board of Education would like to proclaim March 1st to March 7th, 2026 as National School Social Work Week. Thus, be it resolved that the following proclamation be adopted. Whereas school social workers are employed in the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System to help students successfully reach their full potential. And whereas school social workers are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as they remain in school to obtain their educational goals. And whereas school social workers help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children and provide community resources as needed to accomplish these goals. And whereas school social workers work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves while assisting educators in understanding the lifestyles of our students and their families. And whereas school social workers seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school social work programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas school social workers are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Now, therefore, it be resolved that March 1st to March 7th, 2026 be proclaimed National School Social Work Week. Signed by both Roger Moss, Board President, and Dr. Denise Watts, Superintendent.
Accept the motion. Moved
Seconded.
and second. All in favor?
Yes.
Can I, real quickly, before they come up, also give a shout out to the Office of Student Affairs, who this past Saturday received the Mary and Howard Morrison Award from Soup It Up in honor of their great partnership with Loop It Up Savannah. So extra kudos.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faith. Thanks for all you do. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. I look so sharp in your green and black.
And that completes your Board of Education Matters segment of this evening's agenda. Turning the agenda back to the Board President for your consent agenda and other business of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Hediger. I will accept a motion to approve our consent agenda. Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. So, strategic priority 1, student growth and achievement.
Good evening, everyone. Item 9.01, M26131, Ignite Reading PBC Sole Source. This item comes to us from the Office of Strategy, Innovation, and Performance, Office of Instructional Excellence, and the Office of School Leadership, the Senior Director of Special Projects. The Office of Strategy, Innovation, and Performance requests board approval to expand one-on-one virtual foundational reading tutoring services from Ignite Reading PBC to add an additional 500 students. The expanded services will take place March 9th to May 21st, 2026. This purchase is proposed as a sole source due to the proprietary research-backed model that is not available through any other vendor or reseller. Ignite Reading provides a science of reading aligned one-to-one virtual tutorial program designed to build fluency and automatic word recognition in early readers. Each student receives 15 minutes per day, 5 days a week, of individual instruction delivered via a proprietary platform with certified tutors trained in instructional literacy. The justification for this project: independent research by Johns Hopkins University found that students in Ignite Reading gained an average of 5 additional months of literacy growth, with significant results for students of color, English learners, and students with disabilities. SCCPSS, Amira middle of the year pilot data, students received Ignite are making an additional month of average growth than compared peers. Students received Ignite are making more average percentile growth than comparison peers, and also notable in comparison peers are growing at a good pace, with an average ARM growth of 0.41, equating to 4 months of growth, which is equal to the elapsed time between the beginning of the year and the middle of the year benchmarks. These data indicate that Tier 1 and Tier 2 instructions are effective. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the sole source agreement with Ignite Reading PBC for foundational literacy tutoring service for the 2025-2026 school year at an additional cost of $532,500.
I'll accept a motion. Moved in second. Discussion. Okay. There being no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you.
Item number 9.02, budget amendment and operating transfer for the pre-K program. Actual expenditures for the pre-K fund will exceed actual revenues for fiscal year '26. While Bright from the Start, administered by the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning, now funds pre-K teachers' salaries based on the state salary scale, the allocation does not include the district's local salary supplement. Additionally, the state allocation does not fully cover the employer-paid benefits costs associated with the district's total compensation package. To prevent a deficit fund balance in the pre-K fund, an additional operating transfer from the general fund is needed. At this time, staff proposes an operating transfer of $2,087,208 from the general fund to the pre-K fund. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approves the amendment of the general fund 100 budgeted expenditures and pre-K fund 560 budgeted revenues by $2,087,208 as described.
Accept the motion. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes, Ms. Grabowski.
Did we have an excess number of pre-K teachers that we didn't anticipate at the beginning of the year when we were developing? Just curious, now that, especially since part of the salary gap apparently is being addressed by the state. I mean, fully support it, just curious about the difference.
So the question is, did we have an additional number of pre-K teachers that we did not account for at the beginning of the year?
Right, I'm just curious about the need for the budget transfer for pre-K if we ended up with more teachers than we had initially budgeted for.
So this was not due to the number of pre-K teachers, more about the change in the funding formula, which is a bit different than it has been in previous years. And the funding formula, and we'll be able to share some additional information as we receive funding based on a prorated, based on the number of students in a pre-K classroom. And so those are some things that we will provide some additional clarification around that will help us plan better for our pre-K allocations moving forward.
Okay. So it was partially a difference in how the state is funding it that led us to this? Is that right?
Yes, and again, what I will commit to, and don't want to misquote, we will be able to provide some additional information around what that funding formula was that resulted in this larger than normal budget.
Okay. And
adjustment.
apologies for not submitting that in advance, but appreciate any information you can provide.
Dr. Howard Hall?
Could this also be attributed to teachers receiving advanced degrees within pre-K? Because sometimes they, obtain a master's within the middle of the year, so their salaries tend to
I mean,
increase.
I wasn't looking at the data specifically, but yes, that is possible for that. Also, experience verifications that may come in as well.
Dr. Brinkman?
Dr. Butler, it sounds like you're saying class size might play a portion to this based on how the state does it and how we do it. So that would be lovely to explain. If we're actually pitching a smaller pre-K class, that would probably be more intentional. Great. I'm guessing the state used to pay more of the health care and now they're paying less, but they're paying more of the salary. So if we could have like a flow sheet of what it used to look like and what it did and how much it costs us per person, I think that'd be great, because I think we'd all support it. We all want more pre-K classrooms. It's just none of us, when we read it the first time, thought, I should ask these questions. So
No, so you're correct. It is both the staffing adjustment that we are responsible for contributing, but it's also based on the classroom model that has been an adjustment. So those are things that we'll bring back to you for greater clarification.
Okay. Any questions, Ms. Campbell?
No, they asked all the questions that I was going to ask. Thanks.
Okay, great. All right. Is there any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 9.03, M26731, the Princeton Review. The Office of Instructional Excellence and School Leadership are requesting approval of the contract with TPR Education LLC, doing business as the Princeton Review of New York, to launch a research-backed high-dosage tutoring program in secondary mathematics designed to accelerate learning and close achievement gaps for students across the district. Built on proven research from the Annenberg Institute and the University of Chicago Education Lab, this program combines expert-led instruction, high-quality standards-aligned curriculum, and award-winning technology to deliver measurable academic results. Planned for implementation during the spring of 2026 semester, the program uses an assessment-driven instructional design that leverages both formative and summative measures to support academic recovery and acceleration for every participating student. The program follows a virtual, tutorial-led small group model with up to 4 students per session delivered during the school day in 30 to 45-minute sessions for a minimum of 3 days per week over a recommended 36 sessions. Students engage through live audio and video instruction, interactive whiteboards, breakdown rooms, and digital engagement tools that promote active participation and motivation. This intentional design ensures that students receive consistent, personalized support in a dynamic learning environment that keeps them connected and invested in their growth. 8th grade math tutoring will be implemented for selected students at Hubert, Mercer, West Chatham, Myers, Durin, Coastal, Southwest, STEM, and SELA middle schools, while Algebra 1 tutoring will be offered to selected students at SELA, Savannah High, and Windsor Forest High. The outcomes from this targeted sampling of schools will serve as a critical foundation for informing future decisions about how the district supports secondary students' mathematics achievements at scale. Staff now recommends that the board approve the contract with TPR Education LLC, doing business as the Princeton Review of New York, to provide tutorial services in math for the spring semester school year 2025-26 at a cost of $196,360. The funding source for this will be general funds. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract with TPR Education LLC, doing business as the Princeton Review, to provide tutorial services in math for the spring semester school year 25-26. The total contract expenditure will be $196,360 for this service.
I'm sorry. All in favor? I'm sorry. I'll accept a motion. Moved, seconded? Second, moved and second. Any questions? Yes, Ms. Hall.
No question, just a comment that I think this is a great move forward for us, and I can't wait to see how things go with our pilot schools. Thank you, Ms. Grabowski, for bringing it to our
I like it.
attention.
Yeah.
I thought it was important, given our focus on literacy, as it should be, that we elevate that we are also being mindful of all our subject areas and appreciate the academic team for taking this proactive approach and bringing it again to us mid-year so that we can go ahead and pilot it and see if it's something we can carry forward with more students in the fall. So look forward to hearing about the results. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
The next on our agenda is our financials. And I apologize, the screen is locked on me and I don't know the password.
No.
Yes, sir. So the package that was, the financials that were included in your financial package this month were for the month of January 31st, ending January 31st, 2026. And that is 58% of our fiscal year and 50% of the school year. Our Fund 100, thank you. Thank you. Our general funds, Fund 100's revenues for this month, local property taxes are currently at 60% of budget compared to 62% last year. Our total general fund actual revenue also at 60% of our modified budget compared to 61% last year. Our total expenditures for Fund 100 for our teachers are at 53.6% for this month, which is higher than was expected at 49% at this point. Support salaries are at 53%, and that's within the range that is expected at this time of the year. The total general fund actual expenditures, we're at 53% of our budget, and this is higher than we were this time last year at 46.4%. Our school nutrition fund 600, just want to mention at this point, school nutrition at this point, we're showing a loss of $2.4 million year to date. We do have budgeted $3.1 million for operating transfer from the general fund to cover some of the expenses with school nutrition. None of that money has been transferred so far this year. Are there any questions on our financials? Item number 10.2, budget transfer, E4, unallocated Pooler and Bloomingdale projects. Approval is requested for a budget transfer in the amount of $18,400,000 from eSplosh 4 unallocated funds to support capital improvements associated with Pooler Early Learning Center conversion and Bloomingdale K-8 reconfiguration. This transfer supplements the approval of $9,600,000 in E5 allocation for Pooler Elementary School and will provide funding necessary to implement facility modifications aligned to the West Chatham realignment strategies. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the eSplosh 4 budget transfers within eSplosh 4 to the appropriate allocated funds to support capital improvements associated with the Pooler Early Learning Center conversion and Bloomingdale K-8 reconfiguration.
I'll accept a motion to approve. Discussion?
I do.
Yes.
I did want to point out, because I've gotten some questions about this from members of my community, and the amount allocated here, it also, if I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong, this does not include the $9.6 million that was already allocated via eSplosh. Is that right?
That is correct, Ms. Campbell. It does not include the $9.6 million that was allocated out of E5.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And I think this is great. This is what we were told that we would get, and then some, so I appreciate that. I am still, just to throw it out there, I am a little concerned about what we're going to be able to do, so I look forward to hearing about some of the upgrades and such. Are we planning to replace any of the buildings? Are we still planning to renovate only? Do we have any guidance there?
We have not gotten that recommendation yet from the architect team. They have just got started on the review.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Item number 10.03, budget transfer, operations overtime. The Transportation Department has identified negative balances within certain budget account lines due to ongoing bus driver and other staffing shortages. Overtime expenditures have gone over originally allocated amounts, and additional overages are expected throughout the remainder of the school year. To address this, the Transportation Department is requesting a transfer of funds to reconcile the specific account lines listed below. A summary of the proposed budget adjustment is provided. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approves the requested budget transfer to account for overtime expenditures in transportation department in the amount of $2,138,256.
Motion? Moved? Moved and seconded. Discussion. Dr. Bringman.
I'm just hoping we aren't shorting anything, that we're going to have to move money into an account. Some of these accounts read like they aren't even associated with transportation, so just these are places where we know we're going to have some overages or
These are all transportation lines.
regular teacher retirement is a,
It's TRS for the employees
Oh,
within
that's just- okay.
transportation that
Okay.
qualify for that line.
that was yeah, that's where I was kind of drawn to. And we're confident we'll make it and not have to move money into those to make
So
sure that.
because we had vacant positions, we had budgeted for that pension that would have been with those positions. When we didn't hire the position, we had excess funds in that line that we can move.
Sounds good.
Ms. Hall.
I'd like to ask Ms. Davidson, we've put quite an effort into trying to find bus drivers, and it seems like it's an uphill battle. Are we still in the process of trying to come up with some other configurations to compensate so that much of this is for overtime, I guess, using our drivers over and over again for routes? So what is our condition right now?
So we have been very fortunate that Chief Ray has helped with the recruitment. I believe the last time I looked, we were down to about 20 vacant positions as drivers, and that's between our 5-hour drivers, our 8-hour drivers, and our special education drivers. So although we do have overtime and we are constantly working, Chief Ray and his team have been hard at work to make sure that as we can, we fill those positions. Now, we're always interested in more positions, so let me use this as a shameless plug, that we need more drivers, and we would appreciate more of our families applying for those positions, but I feel like we've made a positive turnaround, and I attribute that to the positive message of HR putting out there, come work for our district.
Okay, one more question. Are we still moving forward with different vehicles that don't require a CDL so that others can drive? Is that still
We do
part of
have
the plan?
some 14-passenger vehicles that don't require a CDL to drive. So those have been beneficial, and those are in our budget for next year as well as other large passenger buses.
Thank you.
Mr. Kachmar.
One of the lines we're taking money from is admin fuel. With gas prices skyrocketing, do we buy our gas in advance? Do we have a state contract? I was thinking about it during our budget presentation, but between this and finances, we have a pretty hefty fuel bill. So are we?
I honestly, as we went through finance, I thought of that myself, given the recent gas price changes, and I'm not sure, but I'll have to get back with you on what our contract is, or do we kind of put out a prepay to buy so much gas in advance?
I don't actually need to know. I just want to know that y'all are thinking about that and planning for the foreseeable future on spiking gas prices. And then I just wanted to comment on the vacancy factor down to 20 drivers. I remember last year we were like over 60 or something like that. So
Great
congrats to that team
Yes.
for doing a lot.
Dr. Halbert Hall.
Thank you. If our 5-hour drivers are making excessive overtime, why aren't they 8-hour employees?
So that is a good question. Dr. Watts has authorized us this year to increase our 8-hour drivers. And what we did is we said, based on the route, how many hours should it take? What we found was more, we had monitors who were on a 5-hour monitor position, but were assigned to work more than 5 hours. So we went ahead and adjusted those positions, and as the route requires you to be 8 hours, we are asking to adjust the 5 hour to 8 hours. We do have to be mindful that not all individuals want to work 8 hours. We have some individuals who are on other benefits that they can't work over a certain hour or dollar amount, and so they want to stay within 5 hours. So we wanted to keep some positions at the 5 hours to allow those employees that really maybe they have another job or childcare or whatever their personal preference is, but we have increased our positions. I will go back, and I don't recall the number, but I can go back and get that information if you'd be interested
Okay,
in that.
because that data will be interesting to know whether or not those 5-hour employees are making all this overtime when they can actually be 8-hour employees.
Absolutely,
So
yes,
that's
ma'am.
Something to look at.
Anyone else? All right, there being no more questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10.04, Budget Amendment, Fund 100, FY '26, Charter School Initial Adjustment. A revised initial allotment sheet based on the Georgia Department of Education's FY '26 initial budget shows a net change of Tybee, Savannah Classical, Coastal, Empire Montessori, Susie King, and Oglethorpe Charter Schools QBE and local earnings that total $894,534. In accordance with Board Policy DCA FY 2026, budgeted expenditures must be adjusted at this time, as described on your sheet. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the budget amendment above in the amount of $894,534 to provide the FY '26 charter school initial adjustment.
I'll accept a motion. Been moved? Moved and seconded. Discussion. There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10.05, Budget Transfer, Fund 402 and Fund 462 Grant Revenue. The Georgia Department of Education transferred $1,234,143 from the FY '26 Title IV A Student Support and Academic Enrichment Grant, Fund 402, Program 1779, to the Title I-A Improving the Academic Achievement Grant, Fund 402, Program 1750. Accordingly, the Chief Academic Officer requests board approval to transfer funds for FY 2026 grant revenue and expenditure budgets by $1,234,143 to align the local budget, as outlined on your sheet. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the budget amendment above in the amount of $1,234,143.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10.06, bid 23-28, Moving Services Annual Contract, 6-month extension. On November 6, 2024, the board approved the second annual renewal of bid 23-26 Moving Services Annual Contract to American Moving and Storage LLC as the primary vendor, Leslie Regis, Inc., doing business as Atlanta Cargo Transportation Company, secondary vendor, MBW Office Installation, tertiary vendor. The initial award was for a one-year term with the option to renew for 2 additional one-year periods. Pursuant to the contract amendment number 2, the contract was mutually extended through March 7th, 2026. During the most recent 3-month extension period, December 8th, 2025 through March 7th, 2026, expenditures under this contract total $76,406.09. As this amount was below the board approval threshold of $100,000, no additional board action was required during that time frame. Services supported operational relocations for the Board of Education Police Department, Office of Human Resources, Office of Instructional Excellence, Office of School Leadership, and other district needs. To allow sufficient time for the completion of the new request for proposal RFP process, staff recommends a 6-month extension of contracts with American Moving and Storage, LLC, and Leslie Regis, Inc., doing business as Atlantic Cargo Transportation Company. The extension will support multiple large-scale summer relocation projects, including but not limited to Pooler Elementary move to Bloomingdale, Georgetown K-8 transition, Jacob Smith Elementary transition, Hubert Middle School alternative learning program, and additional programmatic and operational moves throughout the district. Given the scope and volume of anticipated summer projects, the estimated expenditure for this 6-month extension period is $750,000. This will ensure continuity of services, vendor availability during peak summer months, and adequate capacity to manage multiple concurrent moves while the new solicitation is finalized and presented to the board. The services will be ordered on an as-needed basis. The district reserves the right to obtain estimates from the primary contractor and all secondary or other backup contractors for a particular assignment or job order. The funding source on this will be various projects, including some eSplash, some 308, and some general funds. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the 6-month extension of contracts awarded under bid 23-28, Moving Services Annual Contract to American Moving and Storage LLC and Leslie Regis Inc., doing business as Atlantic Cargo Transportation, with an estimated expenditure of $750,000 for the extension period.
Accept the motion, moved by Ms. Hall, seconded by Dr. Howard Hall. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10.07, M26758, Palo Alto Security Software and Hardware Purchase with Redundant Add-ons, NSAPO Value Point Contract Number AR3229. This item comes from the OTBS and Information and Cybersecurity. The description of this project, the proposed purchase includes the renewal of software licenses and support for multiple Palo Alto network security tools. It also includes high availability firewalls, hardware to provide fault tolerance for our internet connections, reducing the risk and impact of a hardware or software failure on a single firewall. Additionally, the purchase includes a statement of work for our vendors to assist with strengthening data center security and implementing increased redundancy in our internet connectivity. These improvements are intended to enhance overall system availability and resilience. Overall, this purchase builds upon previous approved Palo Alto investments, maximizes the value of existing infrastructure, reduces cybersecurity and operational risk, and ensures continued protection and availability of systems that support instruction, business operations, and district services. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the M26758 Palo Alto Security Software and Hardware purchase from MGT Impact Solutions LLC with redundant add-on State of Georgia contract number 9999 SPD-SPD 0000219-0010 for a total cost of $627,319.91.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10.08, RFP 24-336, E-rate wide area network connectivity. On March 5th, 2025, the board approved the award of RFP 24-36 E-rate eligible wide area network connectivity to AT&T Corporation with funding provided through E-rate eligibility. The primary intent of the request was for proposal was to select a qualified firm to provide network installation services of least lit fiber or least dark fiber services. Offerers must be able to provide from 10 GB to 100 GB wide area network connectivity for district sites. Staff recommends exercising the second one-year renewal of the four-year renewal options to the contract to meet E-rate eligibility deadlines at an estimated cost of $1 million. The funding source on this is E-rate eligible items. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the approval of award RFP 24-36 E-rate eligible wide area network connectivity to the firm of AT&T Communication at an estimated annual cost of $1 million.
Moved, seconded. Discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10.09, furniture, fixture, and equipment for Georgetown K-8 school and budget transfer, E/4 revised. On April 9th, 2025, the board approved an extension of the annual contract for district-wide furniture, fixture, and equipment bid C19-05 and RFP C23-01 from Masons, Inc. and Georgia Specialty Equipment, LLC. This is being resubmitted for vendor correction. On February 18, 2026, staff requested to utilize bid C19-05 and RFP C23-01 district-wide FF&E contracts and named Masons, Inc. and Georgia Specialty Equipment in addition to the use of bid 24-41 custodial equipment and various statewide contracts using HNI Workplace, OFC, Kimball International, Kruger International, and Hale. TNENJAM and VIA will also be used under TIPS contract number 230301. The estimated cost of the furniture and equipment to be purchased for Georgetown K-8 school is $1,516,075.92. February 18, 2026, board agenda incorrectly lists the use of Georgia Specialty Equipment for this award. Subsequently, staff requests that the board rescinds previous action on February 18, 2026, and do not replace the recommendation to include the utilization of bid C19-05 and RFP C23-01 district-wide FF&E contracts, including Masons, Inc., and further to include the use of bid 24-41 custodial equipment and various statewide contracts using HNI Workplace, OFCS, Kimball International, Kruger International, and Hale. TENJAM and VIA will also be used under the TIPS contract number 230301. The estimated cost of the furniture and equipment to be purchased for Georgetown K-8 school is $1,516,075.92. In support of this action, a budget transfer was also requested and is restated. This transfer is required to provide funds for the furniture, fixture, and equipment and custodial equipment for Georgetown K-8 school. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board rescind action taken on February 18th, 2026, and approve as resubmitted on March 11th, 2026, the purchase of furniture, fixture, and equipment and custodial equipment for Georgetown K-8 school FF&E using bid C-19-05 and RFP 23C-23-01, district-wide FF&E contracts Mason, Inc., bid 24-41, custodial equipment and various statewide contracts using HNI Workplace, OFS, Kimball International, Kruger International, and Hale. TNJ, JAM, and VIA will also be used under TIPS contract number 230301 for the purchase of Georgetown K-8 school FF&E for an estimated cost of $1,516,075.92. And be it further resolved that this action shall include the stated budget transfer from Georgetown K-8 construction account to Georgetown K-8 school expendable non-computer equipment FF&E account for $1,516,075.92.
Any discussion? Yes?
Sorry, I do have a
Mr.
question.
Bowser.
Was the original intent to always award it to this group of contractors and there was a clerical error, or like what happened here? And did we notify Georgia Specialty Equipment that they had, like, are there any?
I'd have to confirm if we notified Georgia Specialty Company or whatever their equipment, but it was a clerical error on the board agenda item. So we had we moved forward with the purchase through the company that was approved as part of the agenda item, and we are now just clarifying those pieces.
So the intent was not to originally award it to Georgia
Specialty
Specialty.
Equipment, correct.
So that was a clerical error that
Correct.
was made. Okay, I hope we can avoid such, that's a pretty big error.
Yes, ma'am.
So, thank you for bringing it back to us, obviously, to get the record straight, but, yeah, I just hope there's no other concerns that need to be addressed with that. Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Item number 10.10, furniture, fixture, and equipment for Godly Station K-8 school, Fund 307. On April 9th, 2025, the board approved an extension of the annual contracts for district-wide furniture, fixture, and equipment under bid C-19-05 and RFP C-23-01. Staff requests to utilize bid C-19-05 and RFP C-23-01, district-wide FF&E contracts utilizing Mason, Inc., and various statewide contracts using HNI Workplace and Kruger International. The estimated cost of furniture and equipment to be purchased for Godly Station K-8 school is $1,602,630. And we have multiple fund sources for this in Fund 307. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approve the purchase of furniture, fixture, and equipment for Godly Station K-8 School, FF&E, using bid C 19-05 and RFP C 23-01, district-wide FF&E contracts, Mason, Inc., and various statewide contracts using HNI Workplace and Kruger International for the purchase of Godly Station K-8 School, FF&E, for an estimated cost of $1,602,630.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we made it 10 point. RFP 26-32, E-rate 2026-2027, network equipment lifecycle replacement. The purchasing department received 6 proposals in response to RFP 26-32, E-rate 2026-2027, network equipment lifecycle replacement. The firms submitting proposals were AIOS Group, Computer Center USA, DISYS Solutions, MGT Impact Solutions, Net Planner Systems, Inc., and Lockstep Technology Group. The primary intent of this request for proposal was to select a qualified firm to provide network equipment to include network switches and UPS units and installation. The proposals were evaluated based on company experience and qualifications, functional and technical approach, support plan, project plan, references, and costs. Members of the evaluation team were Edra Buckles, Senior Director of Networking and Engineering, Hollis Peck, Library, Media, and Technology Specialist, and Eri Castellanos, Network Engineering, with Sabrina Scales, Senior Director of Purchasing, serving as Selection Manager. Staff recommends award to Computer Center USA, Inc. for an estimated total cost of $4,454,206. The proposals submitted by AIOS Group and Lockstep Technology Group were deemed non-responsive for failing to submit all documentation as required by the solicitation. The funding source on this are E-rate eligible items. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board does now approve the award of RFP 26-32, E-rate 2026 to 2027 network equipment lifestyle cycle replacement to CompuCenter USA, United States, Inc., at an estimated total cost of $4,454,026.
Moved in second. Yes, Dr. Ringman.
I mean, might as well. We'll put them on the spot. Every single one of our school have a switch and an uninterrupted power supply? Do we have one of those at almost every school? Or what are we talking about, like, number-wise that we're replacing here? And then what's the life cycle so that in our budgeting, we can start remembering that we need to budget? I mean, it's necessary technology. I understand that completely, but what is this buying me? Us?
So, yes, every school has network switches, access points, as well as UPSs there. This generally, you cycle out network equipment as much when you put me on the spot, and so I'm losing it. It's late at night and all that kind of stuff. I'm having issues over here. But yes, all the equipment has to be replaced, and when it's end of life.
Yeah.
And so this is E-rate eligible, and so we because of that program, we do get 90%, up to 90% now, I believe, of those monies in return. with this program. So yes, but to answer your question, yes, it all will need to have a life cycle and be replaced.
Thanks for letting me put you on the spot.
Yes.
I would say when we have things like this in our budget, as we get better at it, these are the type of things that we just need to have that's already baked in. This is going to be the year that that's going to come up, or how can we budget that we know that this is going to happen every 5 years so that we add it to our budget for the 5 years before and build that fund up to spend it. That's my perfect happy when Sean and I are no longer on the board. That'll be happening, right?
Can I
take it as-
clarify? We
can I-
get funded back for this.
Yes,
though.
yes.
So this
Is that
is
100%?
90%.
90%? Okay.
And if I could take it a step forward, there are two types of processes when it comes to E-rate. One is where we apply for the BEAR system to where we pay it in full and we get the 90% back. The other process is that was called SPI, I believe, where we can ahead of time apply for the funding and only have to pay the 10%.
Well, that's nice.
So
too.
that's what we're moving toward in the
Okay,
future.
good.
So.
Look at that, even better.
From a security standpoint, I do want to add that this is part of our. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Julian's comments. This network enhancement and replacement is a part of our security platform and infrastructure. So it's important as we upgrade technology that we continue to upgrade and replace this equipment and network access equipment as we move forward.
Okay, any other discussion? Been moved and seconded. No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, we are now at our public appearances. We'll ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. First, we have Mr. Raymond Watson.
Good evening. I'm Raymond Watson, and I've served Savannah-Chatham County Public Schools since 2018. I am proud to say that I was the first teacher of the year at New Hampstead K-8, and the many growths that my students have shown, which has given us ribbons for the Georgia Department of Education. Proud of our Reading Bowl teams, the many athletics that I have coached, and also the fact that I was on the fellowship thing with the Georgia Department of Education, which was recognized earlier this school year here. I share those things not to brag, but to reflect on the teacher that I have hopefully grown this district to know. Many of you have seen me here, and I've stood at this podium, and I advocated for teachers and students because I believe deeply in this district and what we do for our students. So this week, receiving a recommendation letter for my termination was very difficult to receive, not only because it's not the teacher I am on paper, but the process in itself has been very difficult. I am a teacher whose students come back to visit them from high school and middle school. I'm a teacher who works very hard every day to make sure every student in my classroom feels safe and valued. From the very beginning of this situation, it has felt like an ambush where I felt cornered and told that I had to resign or terminate. Did not even fully understand what was happening. At one point, I had 2 hours to make a decision. Then I was put into isolation on another campus, which is what it felt like since January, and now here we are, March, and I just received the letter. So tonight, I'm here to simply be heard, because at this point, the only version of my story has not been me. And more than anything, I hope my students hear me. I want them to know that I did not walk out on them. I want them to know that I was removed from them since January with no contact, no communication, no reason why. I understand that policies must be followed, but decisions as serious as ending someone's career, I believe, deserves a full understanding of the entire situation. I believe there are still ways that we can move forward, that I can continue to serve my students in this district as I would love to do. In the appropriate setting, the full context of the situation will come out and hopefully be heard properly. And I trust that with every fact and the full record of my work with students are considered, the right decision will be made. Because at the end of the day, the only thing I simply want is to see my students again and not to make them feel like their teacher just disappeared on them. But since January the 23rd, I have been put in a room basically alone until this week to find out what was next. Thank you.
Ms. Jennifer Murphy? You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Murphy, Business and Sales Development Lead with Global Partnership for Telehealth, also known as GPT. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having me here tonight, as I am grateful for the opportunity to speak with you about school-based telemedicine within the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. Global Partnership for Telehealth is a nonprofit telehealth organization with a vision to help connect patients to care, regardless of their location or circumstance, and has been a trusted partner with school systems for many years, leading the school-based telehealth charge across several states. What is telemedicine? Telemedicine is the use of electronic information and communication technologies to bridge the gap between patients and providers, no matter where the patient may be. Many patients are children who are in schools for 180 days out of the year, with the school nurses' clinic sometimes being the only means of health care they receive. In many cases, children are taken to an emergency room by a parent or guardian when available after work or when they have access to a vehicle. How does this impact your school system? Simply put, children do not behave or learn well when they are sick. This affects their overall learning experience, increases absenteeism and behavior issues, which ultimately affects their grades, leading to failed classes, discouraged children, and in some cases, these children will not even graduate from high school. That may sound like a stretch, but it's reality. Children miss many days of school waiting to see a doctor or just waiting for their illness to run its course. Your school nurses know better than anyone that many of these children are sent back to school sick day after day, untreated, just to be sent back home again. We could stand here all night and go through how not having a medical home or illnesses not being treated in a timely manner can affect a children's physical and mental well-being, as well as the effects it has on the school system. The good news, I'm here to help, and we are ready to find a solution. I have a solution. We are here to help. CareSource and GPT have done the research and found many students enrolled in Savannah-Chatham County Public School Systems routinely visit the emergency room for primary care needs. They, along with us, know the importance of emergency room diversion and ensuring timely access to primary health care. Therefore, we would like to pilot and work with you all to establish a school-based telemedicine model. We, as partners, want to come to the table with you in a partnership to build this program. I'm here tonight on behalf of GPT and CareSource, asking you all to meet with us to discuss the implementation of a school-based telehealth program within your school system the next school year. We would love to begin the planning process now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Zebedee Bringman.
Hello. I'm here to speak on the use of AI in the classroom. As you've probably heard, AI is the new tool in school, can be used to generate easy assignments and lots of writing very quickly. At my school, STEM Academy, they have some base rules in the Student Code of Conduct that dictate how students should use AI. These basically say that AI should not substitute pupil effort or original work, meaning you should be the one putting in effort, and students must not use AI to submit assignments such as papers, textbooks, worksheets, and other curriculum materials. So this shows that students can't just outright complete an entire assignment with only AI, and it's really only allowed as an assist. Now, the question here is, what if teachers were to use AI to make assignments and do the teaching? I've been unable to find any written ruling on a teacher's ability to use AI, and this can present a couple of issues if a teacher were to just use AI. These problems with AI and issues could be that AI has a lot of inaccurate information and bias. This can lead to worsened learning and false information. Also, if a teacher is using AI to do their job, then they should not be the one granted the credit, the AI should be. And it's not exactly fair for students to spend their time completing work by hand when a teacher can assign entire assignments only using AI. So, now that we've seen the problem, next step will be to make a solution. The goal is to make a balanced use of AI so that it isn't just the AI doing the work. Some examples could be that students and teachers have equal use of AI. So this could be that the teacher should also have to put in their own effort and they cannot use it to complete assignments. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me here. I hope this brings the problem to light and leads to a positive change. Thank you.
I don't know who your dad is, but he is.
Wow. Love it. Sorry. Joseph Schwartz. I never got your name right, ever. Schwartz. That word. It's good to see you again.
Hello, I'm Joseph Schwartzbert, speaking tonight as a STEM Academy parent. The school was the first Godot certified STEM middle school. According to its website, it is still certified, except a school listed in the advancing tier of the certification process is not certified, as confirmed by Cheryl Nix, the state's STEM program manager, who wrote to me recently that, quote, schools are considered state certified if they are classified as executing. The district and school leaders claim that the STEM Academy is in a state-delayed recertification process as part of the school's typical 5-year review. The school's last certification came in 2018. We're in 2026. That's 8 years. At least 2 choice program lottery processes have passed without the school's certification status and subsequent comprehensive plan to get recertified being made public until last month when parents began asking questions. STEM parents want to be clear. We're not demeaning the school, and we're not deriding the educators. We know how hard they work and how poorly the state of Georgia has invested in public schools as of late. We take issue with the lack of transparency that I so often hear touted as a priority by this board and administration. Seeing as how the school is a lottery-only choice program, the following question should be addressed in a public forum for the benefit of all Chatham County families. When exactly did Godot STEM certification officially expire or the status change for STEM Academy? What state STEM-related funding or grants for the school may have been impacted? What Georgia STEM standards did STEM Academy fail to meet, thus resulting in the demotion to the advancing tier? Why pursue the broader Cognia model? In what specific ways is it broader and thus more desirable as a certification? And what verifiable documentation exists confirming that Godot staffing has been responsible for the 18 to 24-month delay of the recertification? Finally, why wasn't the public notified the moment the status change occurred? Education officials at all levels seem to often lament the lack of parental involvement while STEM parents are involved, as a point that you all have made many times in this horseshoe, which makes the lack of transparency and thus respect all the more confounding. As a fellow parent recently said to me in an email, it's just upsetting because the very foundation needed for holistic and effective learning begins in the home-school partnership. It isn't a battle that we seek. We want a genuine partnership. And what the district and the school is delivering is disheartening. It is also time that the district and STEM, as well as all schools really, share exactly how teachers are using AI in the classroom, particularly HMH's Writable program. It appears to be doing the bulk of the reviewing of my 6th graders' written essays with no individualized constructive feedback, and it's impacting grades. It is also not lost on parents that two respected national literacy experts and guests of the district, former Mississippi State Literacy Director Dr. Kiniana Burke and National Literacy Advocate Green Weaver, both lamented the district's choice for its Science of Reading curriculum, HMH, which our own teachers have found significant challenges with per last fall's board retreat. I want to make one final last positive note about this district that I love so much, and I want to give a shout out to the Hurd Elementary scholars that are heading to the science fair in Milledgeville for tomorrow, including Fable. Thank you. I'm going to leave a written copy of this for you.
Ms. Bryant. Ms. Angelisa Bryant.
Good afternoon. Today I come to speak life over our schools, our teachers, and our students. I want to start by recognizing the excellent team members who work with my daughter every day. There are many educators in this district who show professionalism, care, and commitment. Mr. James Shearhouse sent an email recognizing leadership in my daughter and that she was willing to help other students. Mr. Hunter McCoy keeps open communication with all parents by email. He always follows up with parents. I also want to recognize Mrs. Bless, Mrs. Love, Coach Sanders, and Coach Dyer. I can't forget the morning team at Coastal Middle School who brings positive energy that motivates students. Mr. Thomas, Mrs. Hill, and Mrs. Shamba. We have many qualified educators who deserve recognition and leadership opportunities. Literacy and comprehension are important for student success. It is okay to read a book to young students, but we must also make sure our older students comprehend what they read. The board has responsibility of oversight. This board oversight means policies must be followed and practiced. State law, board policy, and procedures must be consistent. Georgia open records law requires response within 3 business days. In your handouts, you will find that I asked one question: where are documents used to create a wellness report are stored? State law is 3 days, and the requirement, this board approved the policy. My goal is clarity, consistency, and trust in the process. Oversight should include communication, access, and accountability. When policies are followed, trust grows. When communication is clear, students succeed. When we speak life into our students, trust me, they grow. When we lead with integrity, they succeed. I hope you review the handouts that I gave you, because I appreciate all the teachers that my child at Coastal Middle School have helped her, and they have brought and made her a better student. Thank you for listening. Take care.
Thank you.
Clap for myself.
I will accept, not everyone at once. I will accept a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here today.